I'm Daniel.
What are we going to talk about this week, Daniel?
All right, well, you already know this. Why are you asking me as if you didn't already know?
Well, the people don't know.
They don't know. All right, so this is going to be a somewhat short and sweet show this week because we have one thing and one thing only to talk about. We're going to talk about what we're going to do for our Wednesday night pre-party at the Roo Bus once we all get to Bonnaroo. Well, not once we all get there because I know that VIP people can't come into Thursday. We're going to miss you dearly.
Yes.
But I do think that there are going to be a lot of people there since the entrance to the farm, to the campground, is starting on Tuesday. So last time we tried this, we weren't really able to do it. So we did the big one back in 2018 where Repeat played for us. That one was great. We had a great crowd.
That one was amazing.
Yeah, that was one of the most fun nights I've had at Bonnaroo ever. And we weren't even in Centeroo for that. It was ridiculous. I'll be honest, when we first had that show, I was a little concerned at first because I was like, are people really going to show up? Is this going to work? We had to go through a lot of pre-show logistics to get it to work. That show happened on a wing and a prayer, man. We had, I don't know if you saw this, Charlotte, but we had 2 different generators that were like cross-rigged to get their PA and all their instruments going and everything.
Oh, I purposely did not look.
It was a miracle that it worked. We had to use a lot of electrical tricks that maybe we shouldn't have, but it worked.
Did not look at it.
But yeah, that was fun. We had some DJs open for them, and then Kristen and Jared from Repeat and their crew played for us, and that was insane. For those of you that were there, you already know about this, but for those of you that missed it, Jared's nuts. He climbed on top of the bus while he was doing a guitar solo and everything. That was the most like punk rock thing I've ever seen, even though they're not like specifically a punk rock band, you know. That was fun.
It was so great.
Yeah. All right. We didn't really get to do it in 2019 because, as many of you know, there was kind of a cluster that day because a storm rolled through and it backed up the traffic for hours, of course.
Because the Hillsborough exit happened in 2019.
We had a number of DJs that were going to play for us, but they were all stuck on Hillsborough Road. Is that the name of the place?
The Hillsborough exit?
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, hopefully people don't have to deal with that this year.
I hope not.
But things are working out pretty well this year because people are entering early and we're already getting a lot of things lined up.
Yeah, I think that early entrance is really going to be great for this.
Yeah, it is. A lot of things are going to work out pretty well for it. I wanted to tell people a little bit about how this kind of thing works ahead of time. All right, so we put a thing on the Roo Bus Twitter and Instagram saying like, hey, this is happening. I'm going to let you know Tuesday who's playing. That was, honestly, I'm going to be transparent. That was to give myself a little time because there's a couple of other things that I wanted to make sure that was confirmed and lined up before I announced it all at once. So that was just a way of saying like, hey, we're doing this, but wait till next week and I'm going to tell you what we're doing.
So I know you've been working with Kevin from Camp Reddaroo.
Yeah, him and his wife Amber have turned into good friends. We all went to a minor league baseball game about a month ago.
Yes.
Lindsay from Roo Fitness was there, and we were kind of conspiring about this a little bit there. There have been a number of target names that I really wanted. We, first of all, looked to see who we could get from the Bonnaroo lineup. And, man, we knew it was a long shot, and we found out really quickly how much of a toucan and string operation that the music business is right now after it's coming back from the pandemic of last year, you know?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, a lot of artists just like don't know the full details of everything, and it was tough to really get through to a lot of people. There were a couple of big names that we were fairly close to getting, but like it's just not going to work out this year because music touring just has a lot of unanswered questions right now. But we did go through a number of contacts, and I am pretty excited about the act that we're going to have this year. They have played a number of Bonnaroo installations before. They were not on the lineup, but the activity schedule. A couple years ago, we're going to talk with them in just a few moments, and they're going to tell us more about it, right? But our featured artist for this year is going to be the DJ duo Get Weird.
Yes, I'm so excited about them.
Yeah, I love these guys because they have been doing a lot of the cool stuff in the camps over the past couple of years. They played on top of kind of a cousin to us with Big Red with Walter Productions.
Yeah.
Did you know that they played on top of Big Red for the Pride Parade that we were a part of a couple of years ago.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
They were the headline artists for the Pride Parade, basically.
That's so cool.
So they took that through the camps and came by the House of Yes and came through the Bonnaroo gates. And I think they led everybody to that Casey Musgrave show that year.
That's so cool.
Was that who played
I think so.
at the end of the Pride Parade?
So, yeah. They played on top of Big Red. I guess it makes sense for them to play on top of the bus.
Yeah, that's the plan. I kind of want them to play on top of the bus, kind of like Cherub did a number of years ago when they played out in the RV section. We're going to make sure that they can do that safely. I think we have talked about a couple of ways that we can pull that off. So, yeah, it will be a bit easier for us. I'm going to be honest and transparent with you guys. I was scared to death to have a band play because, like I said, we got repeat to play on like just some duct tape and a prayer, man. Somehow it worked. I was open to the idea of having a band again, but I just knew it would be a lot of work. And, we've been gone from Bonnaroo for 2.5 years now, and we wanted to make this a big deal and make it fun, but not make it too stressful on anybody.
Right.
I trust Get Weird because they've played so many different things out in the campgrounds. They are kind of one of those like house bands of Bonnaroo, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can expect to see them all over the place. That's why I said that they have been kind of a non-traditional artist in a ways, because they've done a lot of these huge campground parties. They've played on top of Big Red, and they've played a lot of other things. They're going to tell us about it because we're going to talk with them here in just a few moments. But I did have a couple of other announcements about that Wednesday pre-party show. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
Well, do you want to know what it is?
Yes.
So I have been conspiring with Lord Taco and Barry from the What podcast, and it looks like we're going to have them in on the party as well.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know that till just now.
You didn't know that?
No.
Okay, well, I need you to
That's
go
awesome.
check with Taco about why he stammered into the bus late that night at the mini room. What did he do again?
Hello?
He just came.
Hello?
He was
Hello?
having a good time, man. Well, I'm going to find out from him what was going on with that. So, yeah, the plan is we want to have kind of like a welcome from Roo from them. I know a lot of people have been listening to them for years now and perhaps would like to meet them in person, and that's the plan. I know Barry's got like a whole closet full of What podcast stuff that he wants to get rid of.
Oh, yeah.
He came to our mini room and just had like bags full of koozies or whatever.
Yes.
I think he needs to make the space. But anyway, some details are still being worked out with that. We will have more information on that in the future. But it does look like we're going to have the boys from the What podcast involved in some capacity. So more information on that to come in the future. But for right now, do you want to talk with the boys from Get Weird?
I do. Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, guys. I'm on the line with the headliners for the Wednesday night pre-party at the Roo Bus. I've got Toby and Laz from Get Weird on the line. How's it going, guys?
Wonderful, man. Thanks so much for having us. And how are you?
I am doing good. It's a weirdly cool and rainy Monday night here in North Alabama, where we're at, where we have the Roo Bus parked. I understand you guys are in Ohio. What's going on up there?
Indeed. We're in Ohio, based out of Columbus, Ohio. It's been, are we allowed to swear on here?
Hell yes.
All right. Well, it's been an absolute dog shit summer in Ohio. I think we have like 1 billion inches of rain. And like when it's sunny, it's like Alabama hot and muggy. So
really has.
we're doing our best up here, man. Quite honestly, a September in Tennessee sounds pretty fucking good right now.
Listen, Charlotte and I have been talking about this, and it has been an unseasonably cool summer around here. And I am saying that we're just going to be due by the time it comes around the Labor Day weekend. A lot of these people that aren't necessarily from the area are saying like, oh, it'll be cool, it's September. And I'm like, no, y'all, you need to be ready for this. It's going to be like the freaking Sahara out there.
That's exactly what I've been saying about Bonnaroo this year. I don't think the weather is going to be at all different. I think it's just going to be the same sticky, hot summer days that we're used to.
Yeah. We could be proven wrong, but I'm counting on it being hot.
As long as it doesn't rain.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, you're going to get your hour. You're always going to get your hour of rain at some point in the weekend.
That's true. It was Sunday morning a couple of Bonnaroos ago, and it wasn't that bad. It was.
No, it cooled it off.
Yeah, it felt pretty good that day.
It's always welcomed. It's not, Toby, back me up because I'm awful on my years. But what's that one year that Eminem headlined and it started like thunderstorming right before the show?
2012.
2012?
Yeah.
Well, the first time that he played.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
That was the first time? Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, it was brutal. And I remember I was in personally an interesting state of mind that night. And
Same.
I got a little antsy. And then the storm rolled in. I was like, okay, I'm still antsy, but like now I'm a little bit invigorated. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna, like, my friends are posted up at our spot at what stage. I'm gonna go over and check out Primus real quick, because they were playing right before Eminem came out. So I walk over with our buddy Matt, and we walk over and get like towards the back of Primus, and I'm like, shit, I can't do this either. And so like legit, like got there about face and went right back to what stage and posted up with our friends again for an absolutely monster set from Eminem.
Yeah, it was great.
Was that the one? This might have been the newer one where he put the warning about like the gunfire sound on the screens. Was that the newest one, or was that the first time he played? I think it was the newest
recent one. That was the recent one, and I think
Yeah.
I know why that happened, because the
Vegas.
There was somebody that played previously that did something like that, and it caused a little bit of a shitstorm online by people saying that was a little insensitive because it wasn't that long after that Vegas shooting.
Yeah.
My memory is fuzzy too.
No, so he after the Bonnaroo stop is when he started putting the warning up the remainder of the festivals that he was playing that summer because there was so much of a public outcry. And I only remember this because I bought the Eminem shirt of him flipping off the Bonnaroo crowd on the front, and the back had the warning, which was just marvelous.
And you bought that shirt, you had to.
I had to have the shirt with him.
He's very proud of his t-shirt.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a question for you guys. You said you're from Columbus. I don't know why, but Columbus seems to just be some nexus of the Rooniverse. There are so many Bonnaroovians from that area. The parachute people that have the Roo shoot are from there, and I've met
Ron Holgado.
Yeah, Ron. Yeah, we know Ron. He's a mutual
Oh, yeah.
friend. Why are so many Bonnaroovians coming from Columbus? What's going on there that I need to know about?
So I think let me take a quick diatribe.
Yes.
And then I will center it right back. So I lived in New York City for a couple years, and I was dating at the time this like born and bred East Coaster. She was from Connecticut, lived in Manhattan on the Upper East Side. Just, I mean, she could have been a character on Sex and the City, swear to God. So we started dating, and I'm sure I was probably the only person she's ever met knowingly from Ohio. So we start dated for about a year. And the more and more we dated, she would notice all of these weird Ohio connections, right? Like we'd be at a bar one night, we meet somebody from Ohio. And then being from Ohio we are very, 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 very proud of our state and being from it. We're like, drink local, eat local, be local. And that's just within our little cities, let alone the state as a whole. Like you can't go into any t-shirt store without seeing some variation of Ohio, the outline of the state, and like home printed in the middle of it. We're super proud of who we are, right? So we would meet people at the bar. We'd be watching a movie and somebody would be from Ohio. They'd be talking about Ohio or something like that. And I'm like a sociology nerd, right? So I like dug down this rabbit hole. And what I found out was when people think about the Midwest, they think about specifically Ohio. And the saying of our state is the heart of it all. It's on our license, our old license plates now, but it's on our old license plates. And it really is kind of a mantra for what I learned the rest of the country thinks about us. So I lived in California as well. So when I was living in LA and I was living in San Francisco and I was living in New York, one of the things I learned was that they call the rest of the country from basically Colorado to the farthest eastern point of Pennsylvania until you get into Jersey is they call us flyover country. And it's this weird homogenization of, they think it's just like cornfields. That's like cornfields and cattle. So I'm from Cleveland originally. If you start from the farthest east part of suburbs to the farthest west part of the suburbs, it takes 2 hours side to side, and you're not going to see a cornfield. It is suburb and urban. Now you get to Columbus. Here's a really interesting part. There was I think it was an article in the Gothamist out of New York, and the article headline was something to the likes of Columbus, Ohio, the new Brooklyn. Columbus, Ohio is an incredibly progressive part of the country. It's the third biggest pride celebration in the country, and we're the third most fashion forward city in the country as well.
How did that come to be?
So,
Lex Lexner.
Wex Lessner. If you watch any of the, who was the guy who didn't, Epstein. So this guy, Wex Lessner, was a buddy of Epstein. So it might be some dirty shit that got us going, but.
Oh my gosh.
I know, dude. Let's not, we're not gonna take a hard left into that.
We're digressing into some weird areas here.
No,
Ohio was cool, and we went into like Epstein conspiracies.
As Toby and I always say, we're get weird, but there's a good kind of weird and there's a bad kind of weird. So we're gonna err on the good side of weird. So this guy Lex Wessner, he and Toby, fill in any blanks here. He's the guy who owns the clothing lines, the Limited, now L Brands, and he also owned Express. And so those two conglomerates split. Am I missing anything else that he owns?
Yeah, Victoria's Secret. I mean, I think he's since sold almost all these off, but yeah.
Anyway, so he started that. They're based in Columbus, Ohio, as is Abercrombie and Fitch.
Wait, what?
There's another big one I'm missing, I feel like. I don't know, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So anyway, on top of that, we have the Ohio State University, which is the largest public college in the country. I think it's like 20,000 some kids start their college career there as freshmen every single year. So you have this huge influx of kids, right? And then you also have jobs once they get out of school, and no one wants to leave their college town.
Okay,
so
now it's starting to make sense, yeah.
Right? So Toby and I went to Ohio University, the best party school in the nation.
Yeah.
And we'll circle back to that in a little bit, talk about Halloween, the biggest Halloween party in the country. If we could have stayed in Athens and been professionals, we would have, but it's a small rural community. There's really nothing professional for us there, right? So everyone wants to stay in their college town. They all stay there, and they all got jobs. Now, combine that with this very interesting fact. Promo West Productions, owned by a guy named Scott Steinecker. He was the largest privately, or like family-owned, how should I say it, Toby?
Independent music venues.
Independent music venue and show producer in the country. The biggest. This guy in the 70s bought Newport Music Hall, which is just a canonical hall. Like Tools played there, like, Alice, like all these huge, huge bands have gone through there. Since then, he's opened up 3 more venues in Columbus. And then he was the first guy, he made an indoor concert hall, which hosts like 1,500 to 2,000 people, right? Some badass shows we've seen there. He was the first guy to figure out that he could make an indoor venue, but there's a huge garage door on the back of the stage with an amphitheater out back, so we can use the same stage both inside and out. The guy's a genius, right? So then he takes that idea, moves it to Pittsburgh, opens something called Stage AE, which is a bigger, better version of what we have. And then he just opened one up in Cincinnati. He bought Bunbury Music Festival in Cincinnati. The guy's he's a monster, and he does fantastic work. So you have a college town with jobs, which then leads to the fastest growing city in the Midwest, the fastest growing music city in the Midwest. And then everybody else who didn't go to Ohio State wants to move there, which is exactly what I did.
Okay, the puzzle pieces are coming together for me now. Like, I totally get it. This makes a lot of sense. I didn't think of it from, like, the college party town aspect of things. Now it makes total sense to me why Ron Holgado and Get Weird come out of that area.
Yeah,
it's you know, it's just a hodgepodge. Columbus is very unexpected. You know, it's
sleeper city.
You know, like Nashville's kind of explosion and Brooklyn's explosion. You know, those made sense. Columbus was, you know, it's a little bit out of left field, and you know, Ohio just has a little bit of all of it. What I would have said about why so many people come to Bonnaroo, you know, music was really, really big in Ohio. You know, in the 60s and 70s. We have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here.
Yeah.
A lot of our parents were really diehard into rock music, the whole, you know, Summer of Love, all of that. I mean, that was really king here in Ohio. And I think, you know, they just raised kids that appreciated rock and roll music. And, you know, there's always been a big contingent of Ohioans that went down to Tennessee for Bonnaroo.
100%.
Oh, yeah. You guys have always shown up. But,
Yeah.
All right, you lead me into my next question here. All right, You're talking about how your parents got you into all this kind of music. You're going to pretty much what is like the grandchild of Woodstock in Bonnaroo. How long have you guys been DJing Bonnaroo? What was your first gig? Like, how did you get a foot in the door? Tell me a little bit about your story with Roo.
So let's even take it back just one step further. So Laz and I went to our first Bonnaroo together, our first Bonnaroo, and it was together in 2010. It was Thursday night, and I had never really listened to electronic music before, but they had what was it called? The Solar Stage.
Your stage.
And Sharam was playing. And he was playing a remix by P. Diddy. And in the chorus, it sounds like, Bonnaroo, Bonnaroo, Bonnaroo. And I looked around, and it blew my mind. And I went back to camp that night, and I told my wife, I was like, when I go home, I'm going to get a DJ controller. She said, no, you won't. Well, I did. So Get Weird was really born our first night of Bonnaroo. Laz lived in Brooklyn. He moved to Columbus right as I was really starting to develop some skills. I asked him if he wanted to join, make it a DJ duo.
So you said 2010? So over 10 years ago now.
Yeah. So, you know, this will, we missed a few there in the middle. But yeah, so we're more than a decade here into Bonnaroo. So if we fast,
to playing on top of Big Red last time, is that right?
Yeah, well, our first time. Bonnaroo 2015 was coming up. You know, Walter Productions, they had the Calliope there the year before when Skrillex played on top. So I said to Laz, I said, hey, I'm just going to send them a message, you know, see what they're up to, see if they need DJs. You know, Hail Mary pass, right?
Yeah.
You don't,
never hurts to ask.
Yeah, you really don't expect to get an answer. And this woman, Anna, who we're still close with, and she still does stuff separately from Walter at Bonnaroo. She hit me back right away, and she said, "Get Weird. I like that energy.
Yeah.
Let's talk." So, you know, we had a few discussions. She said, you know, we're going to have our Big Red and Mirage art cars, and we're going to lead Bonnaroo's parade to open what was then their newest attraction, the Grove. And my jaw just dropped. I mean, you know, the idea of getting to lead a parade at Bonnaroo Thursday night at night, it was just a dream come true.
Was that like one of those like, oh, wow, I've made it kind of moments?
Yeah, well, you know, The meeting spot was under the I think it was the cuckoo clock at that point, which like was one of my favorite things ever.
I missed the clock. Yes,
me too. Those video screens and all the weird shit it would say on the hour.
Stuff. Somebody expressed to me that one time it came out and it just started telling like random facts about like animals and stuff.
Oh, 100%. My favorite thing that I ever heard it say was "sex can wait, masturbate." It was genius. Literally, I would leave a show and go walk over by the Ferris wheel just to listen to that cuckoo clock. I loved it. But so, you know, that year we did the parade and we just sat in the Grove with our group of friends afterwards for probably an hour and just, you know, where do you go from here? So.
So what other big Roo shows have you done? I know that was a big one for you. Have there been others?
Yeah. So like our relationship with them evolved. And we got to do some really cool shit. We got to do the Thursday morning wake up call one year, which was just a 10 a.m. dance party. Which was back
like
in
a going to bed thing for a lot of people.
Or not, you know, like truth be told, we didn't. That's neither here nor there. So we got to do that, which was a super fun thing. Which was at Pod 2. Might have been Plaza 2 at that point. I'm not really sure, but that's where Big Red's Garage was.
Yeah.
For a couple of years.
And that was 2017.
2017. Funny story about that. So we wrote a 2-hour mix. So when Toby and I are going to do a show, like these really important big ones, we work diligently. We spend hours, weeks, sometimes a month or two on putting a perfect mix together. So we know we're going in prepared and we know we're going to give people a good show. So they wanted a 2-hour show. So we put a 2-hour mix together. Super fun. I still listen to that mix. I got a recording of it. 12 minutes in, power blows.
Oh my God.
Swear to God, power blows. We got 2 hours of music planned and we got through 12 minutes of it. So this was Thursday morning and the song we ended on was Morocco, that When the Power Blew. So power blows and I go into like instant, like gotta save the show mode. Like how the fuck are we gonna pull this out of the tailspin? So I just go out into the crowd. I don't know, a couple hundred people there. And I'm like, dude, so sorry, power blew, but you know, oh, Bonnaroo.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, so I try to keep that going, you know, because they'll fix the power. They always fix the power. Power was never fixed. So eventually I'm just completely steamed and I lost my voice for the rest of the weekend doing that. 100% worth it.
And
we should be okay at the bus. We're going to run off a few generators. We got this, guys.
There you go. Yeah, well, they did eventually get the power back on, and I think we ended up playing. So we lost a lot of the crowd, but we ended up playing for maybe like the next 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
And we would just have masses of people coming and going. I mean, sometimes it'd be 10 people. And then all of a sudden you'd look up, there'd be 50 people there. And that was a lot of fun because just the ebb and flow and everything we had planned went out the window. And, you know, you make the most of it. And just the changing crowd was so cool.
We ended up playing that mix, though, if I remember correctly, because directly after us was going to be like a drum circle. So like, like claves and stuff to like, you know, just like keep a beat going. So I think we just played our same damn mix, but then it was like a drum circle. So I remember at some point I was like, Toby, you got this? Yeah, good. So he was DJing and I went down and started banging claves together. And again, I'm running on fumes at this point. I haven't slept in probably 36 hours. I'm just going hard in the paint. I remember I looked down and I had a splinter because I hit the clave so hard it split and went into my hand.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, well, you know, you got to fully send it. We're not going to semi-send anything at Bonnaroo. It's not what we do. So that was super fun. I remember we didn't get in trouble, but they got in trouble. Walter got in trouble because there was Remember next door? Was it like a cooking class or something that they were trying to do next door?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was some Nashville celebrity chef. I forget who it was. Some grill master, but
Never let it be said that Bonnaroo won't try anything. Just throw anything against the wall to see.
100%. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So they were pretty pissed because they couldn't do anything that they wanted to do because we were too.
I had heard about that, but I didn't expect that it was your fault. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was us. So, sorry, Nashville chef, but you're welcome, everybody else who had a really good time. So from there, we got to do one of my favorite things I've ever done, which is a yoga session with them. In
2018.
2018. Okay, so yeah. I love yoga. My fiance is a yogi. And we'd never done anything like this, but they were like, we want to put a yoga thing together, and we want you guys to DJ. You ever done anything like that? We're like, no, but I will 100% do that. So this was nothing like we've ever played before. This was very like ethereal music, and then very just not shit we play. Like we usually go hard in the paint. Like we play electro house and dubstep, and just shit that melts your face. And this was different for us. And so we were getting ready to start up, and I just remember more and more people joining. There had to be 100, 150 people doing yoga in front of us.
Oh yeah, at least.
It was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
And what artists do you pick from to put together a yoga mix? I mean, like you get like Kenny G or Yanni? Like, what is this?
No Yanni. Shit, you know what? Let's vamp. I'll pull that playlist up and see what the hell I can find. It was it was just stuff that they gave us like, let me think. They gave us like some
no vocals.
No vocals. That was the big one. No vocals.
And no vocal like sounds in the music. And also keep in mind, this was Saturday morning, and that was the night after Muse, and Laz and I were out until the end of Calliope. So
I don't want to talk about that.
You guys didn't do that the next year, did you? Because I went to that yoga tent and tried that out in 2019, the last time we were there.
No, in 2019 we didn't do any yoga sessions.
Okay. And that wasn't them at that point, was it?
I don't even remember. It was near us where we parked the bus, and I got talked into it by some of the girls that were on the trip with me.
Oh, nice.
I wouldn't have done it on my own, but I got there and I'm like, this is okay.
There's actually a lot of yoga that they do at the different plazas. They do it inside of Centeroo, I know.
Yeah.
That one year,
quite a bit of that happening in the morning.
All right, so guys, you tell me a little bit about this yoga set. What can you tell me about what you might have in mind for the set that you're going to play at the bus on that Wednesday night?
Different than the yoga set.
I would imagine. I mean, we can go in that direction if that's what you want.
Nope.
Well, it'll definitely be upbeat music. Our style of music is, I love electro house and house music. So there will be a lot of 128s and just really danceable, fun, upbeat music. We'll have a lot of remixes to popular songs in the set. We love to throw in some fan favorites, you could say. Some
Bonnaroo artists from that current year.
Yeah. Things that you wouldn't expect, funny things. Our names get weird, so it's a little bit all over the place. It's going to be dancey. It's going to be upbeat. People are going to be singing along. It should be a real fun party. I mean, that's kind of just what we do. We've done all these things at Bonnaroo in 2015, 2017, 2018, 2019. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the 2019 show, because we got to start Bonnaroo's first ever Pride Parade.
Yes, I was there for that. That was amazing.
Thanks, man.
That was you guys on top of that VW bug. That was awesome.
Back on top of Big Red. We started at Where in the Woods. We went all through the campgrounds.
Backstage.
We started backstage. We actually started DJing backstage. driving past the what and everybody back there dancing was so cool. And so, yeah, driving up to Where in the Woods through the campgrounds, we got to go in the entrance by the Ferris wheel, and we got to DJ inside of Bonnaroo.
That's awesome, dude.
When you talk about where do you go from that first parade that you led, getting to play inside of Bonnaroo, going past this tent, and we ended at Casey Musgrave's show at the Witch stage, and that was yeah.
I'm
I don't think you can top that one.
Oh, well, we're going to try to, because I'm excited
There you
for
go.
what we're cooking up, because I feel like this is a natural evolution. We've hung out with the Walter people before, so for you guys to go from the Bug to On Top of the Bus, which I don't know, Laz, I don't know if Toby told you about this, but this is kind of what we're plotting up, to have the DJ table on top of the bus. I feel like it's a natural next step, perhaps.
I mean, it's a logical progression. We're now at Bonnaroo. I believe we've played more on top of things than on the ground.
That's
Oh, that's what she said.
Yeah.
Fantastic work there.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me, and thanks for agreeing to play for us. This is somebody asked me recently, what traditions do we have? And at the time, I kind of blanked. I was like, well, I don't really have a tradition like shotgunning a beer as soon as we get there or anything like that. But this is our tradition, is throwing down and technically having what is the first show at Bonnaroo for that year. And we didn't get to do it last year, obviously, and the year before that, the storm kind of got rid of things. But this year, we're having Get Weird play on top of the bus. I've had so many people already express interest in being there. We've got some other fun stuff happening as well, and just you guys. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have you guys there. It makes perfect sense. It's going to be a blast.
Well, yeah, we really appreciate you having us. We're definitely honored. It's just, it just feels really right to, every year we find something new to do on the farm. I know a lot of people that'll be at the bus probably have been at one or multiple of our shows. And
yeah, I would imagine. I mean, You guys have become kind of like one of these Bonnaroo house bands. I always joke with people. I'm like, well, whenever Cherub's there, they'll be everywhere. You can find them. I feel like you guys are kind of like that too. Like you're playing like everywhere, literally.
Well, if one day people want to compare us to My Morning Jacket, that would be fine with me.
Oh, well, okay. Well, that's a whole different story. We'll go see them together, okay?
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
Yeah. Well, Toby and Laz, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We got some plans to make here in the next month and a half, but I'm glad that we could hang out today and tell everybody a little bit about what we're up to.
Same.
Yep. Thanks so much.
Okay, that was awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks for giving us a call, and thanks so much for playing this. I'm so excited to have everybody out. I'm so excited to try to get them on top of the bus and make this a big rager. And I'm excited about something else. Do you want to tell everybody what else we're doing at the party? So I'm going to be host in terms of like, hey, I'm bringing the bus and everything and helping everything get going. But I'm not the host of this. Can you tell everybody who is?
Okay, we got a very important host.
This is very important. This host is very important.
Okay. Some of y'all know him.
Oh, you should know him if you don't.
But if you don't know him, you really should know him.
Yes.
And his name, he's one of the leaders of Camp Reddaroo.
He is a magical creature.
He's a magical creature.
We love him so much.
His name is Mitchell.
Yes. If you have not met Mitchell, you must come to our pre-party to experience Mitchell.
Just trust us when we say you need to meet Mitchell.
Yes.
He is everything that Bonnaroo is.
If aliens came down to the earth and was like, give us your best Bonnaroovian, I would offer them Mitchell.
I would most definitely offer them Mitchell.
Yes. So we have spoken with him on the podcast before. Late last year, I did a talk with him, and he was telling us all his dad jokes and things like that. And he was on the latest episode that we crossed over with the What podcast on when we recorded from the bus at Bonnaroo. You can hear his very bravado voice telling all these ridiculous jokes and stories. I promise you, he is as much of an attraction as anything else, and he is going to be our host and master of ceremonies at the pre-party, and I am so excited. I'm going to try to see if I can talk him into doing like somewhat of a stand-up set or something.
Just one of the greatest Bonnaroovians you will ever meet.
Yeah, so please come hang out with us. Meet Mitchell. Meet the boys from the What podcast. Come enjoy the music from Get Weird. It is going to be a hell of a night. I have seen that it has already blown up when we were trying to get the word out about it. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I know some of you guys were looking for like Cage the Elephant or Cherub or something like that. Y'all, we ain't got that kind of money.
I wish we had Cage the Elephant money.
We would love to have made that happen for you. But, okay, here's another piece of information that I'll give you. It's really tough for us to book somebody who's officially playing like a tent or a stage because artists don't actually get their artist passes until Thursday. We had to like call in some big favors to get repeat to be able to play on Wednesday night.
Yeah, it was a big to-do, I remember.
Yeah, between that and the power and everything, it was a damn miracle that we got them to play. And that was another reason that once we kind of realized like, hey, you know, all these other acts are either asking too much or their availability is in question, we knew that going to the boys with Get Weird was the way to go because they can bring the party. And also, this is just going to be a lot easier on a lot of us. We will go big or go home with this and other things in the future. But that's kind of why I was popping in on the comment thread saying like, hey, don't expect the moon on this, guys. I know we're not having an artist that would like headline Coachella or Bonnaroo for us or whatever, but I promise you it's going to be an amazing time. Please come. We can't wait to meet so many of you that we've been talking with online. Bonnaroo has been online for the past 2.5 years. I'm sick of it. We're going to be there in person at the Roo Bus with Get Weird, with the What Podcast, and most importantly, with Mitchell.
I was going to say with you.
Oh, with me. Well, you're with me all the
no,
time.
No, I
anyways.
meant with you, though.
Oh, them, yes.
With
listening. Them. Oh, hell yes. Speaking of the people that are listening, can we call out our Patreons while we're at it?
Absolutely.
Okay, everybody knows the deal with this by now. Let's jump into the names. Then I'll give them the explanation.
Okay. We got Randy, Joshua, Babs, Caleb, Madison, Kayla, Scott, Greg, Eric and Ben, Kristen, Natalie, Jace, Evan, Jay, Chloe, and Sean.
Yeah, Charlotte's only calling out first names because the list has gotten so long now. This is insane.
Yes, I'm just beyond. I can't even.
Yeah, and if you're just tuning in to hear about our artist, the quick TLDR on this is that we have done this Patreon to mainly help make a big donation to our beloved charity, the Bonnaroo Works Fund. 80% of everything that's going through the Patreon will go to them. The remaining 20% will fund this podcast. Maybe buy us a new mic or fund the bandwidth, whatever. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm excited for the Works Fund.
Yes. All right, guys. Charlotte and I do have a quick kind of like post show that we're going to do. We've done these before. We called them like late nights or something like that. I wanted to keep the vibe of this episode fun and everything. We did have something a little serious that we were going to talk about just in terms of like health and safety after the quote unquote end of this episode. But we wanted to leave it at this and have it be fun and give you something to look forward to with the pre-party. Are you excited to see everybody?
Oh, definitely.
Besides Mitchell, who do you need to see?
I mean, just everybody that's been listening to
the
podcast. I mean, truly.
I need to see Eric and Ben. I've been talking with them.
Truly, there's so many people that I've been talking to for the past 2.5 years that I've never met.
I know, isn't it weird? Since it's been so long.
Yes.
Oh, man.
I mean, there's a lot of people that's came to Speakeasy Roo or Mini Roo that I've, like, got to meet and got to interact with. But there's people that I talk to, like, you know, on at least a weekly basis that I've never met.
I know. It's going to be weird, man.
And it's going to be
It's going to be weirdly awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
So please come and see us for the Wednesday pre-party. Those of you that are coming in later on Thursday, we'll try to catch up with you then on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever.
And I mean, you can always find us in Centeroo because we got the Ricky Totem.
Yes.
Too, so if you
we're
see that.
Not hard to miss. Yeah, that's right. Either in the bus or with the totem. But we can't wait to see you guys at the Wednesday pre-party. There's just 6 weeks to go, guys. It's getting nuts. Get those piles ready. Be checking off that checklist and everything, right?
Yes.
All right. So make plans. Stay safe. Get out there and radiate positivity. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Hey, I think they're still around.
Are they?
Maybe.
I don't know. This is kind of like a post-show kind of deal.
It's definitely a post-show.
Yeah. So Charlotte and I wanted to talk about this just a little bit. A couple of episodes I swore that I wouldn't talk about this kind of thing again, but Delta has become a thing in the past week or two. And
Delta Airlines?
Oh, well, they're okay. I like taking Delta when it's a good price.
You get the little pretzels.
Delta's pretty good, yeah. Whatever. I'm not too picky about airlines, but obviously we're not talking about airlines in this case when it comes to Delta. So you guys, if you've been listening to the news or whatever, you already know where we're going with this. All right, so we're not going to talk about the politics. We're really going to talk about the science and kind of like what we feel about it. All right, Charlie's okay if I tell you how I feel about this whole thing first?
I think
you can
so.
tell me. All right, I personally am not that worried about it. You and I both have been fully vaxxed on Team Moderna. Wait, is that right? That's what we got, right?
Yes.
Moderna. It's been a while. I forgot. And Brooklyn did too. So I know we're fine. Like, at worst, if you do test positive or whatever, like, you would probably barely even notice that you had anything. It would probably just be an annoying sniff. So I'm personally not worried about, like, oh, am I going to get it? Am I going to be in trouble? Statistically speaking, it's virtually impossible that, like, I'm going to get into any health problems, right?
I mean, statistically.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost impossible. Not completely impossible.
Not completely impossible.
Yeah. But I do think that I'm going to have a mask in my back pocket going into Bonnaroo, right? I personally feel like in most instances, like if we're hanging around the bus or we're in line or just walking around kind of like the normal parts of Bonnaroo, I'm not too worried. But if I'm under one of the tents or I'm at the wet stage and I'm pretty close, like I'm going to be for Tame or whatever, I think I'm going to put my mask on. If you had asked me that question a couple of weeks ago, I probably would have said, no, I'm not worried about it. But now I'm like, yeah, I think I do. Because, like, I think it's a sign that you respect others.
Right.
And not even just the others that are there at Bonnaroo, but the others that you're going to see in the week or two after Bonnaroo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we have this whole Bonnaroovian code where we're playing as a team and we respect the farm. Respecting the farm, I don't think necessarily applies to only the grounds or whatever. I think it, can imply everybody at the farm as well.
Right.
So I'm going to play as a team, and I think I'm going to put my mask on where we're in big crowds.
I thought about it, and you really could do like a really sparkly costume mask. That'd be cool.
Yeah? Are you going to?
I'm thinking about it.
How are your feelings? What do you think you're going to do?
I don't know.
You don't know yet?
I'll probably wear a mask, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And I tend to over worry about things. I tend to over worry about a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I really tend to over worry.
Well, okay, let's say, for example, we're taking a road trip and we're going through New Orleans here in a couple weeks. And, I mean, I'm going to go to Bourbon Street. I'm going to go get a drink and get some Cajun food or whatever, everything that you do over there. But you know how Bourbon Street is. It's usually pretty packed. I think I'm going to put on a mask in Bourbon Street, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've seen that New Orleans' rates are not great right now. So, I mean, like I said, I'm sure I would be fine, but I just want to protect others that I might be coming in contact with.
Right.
And it's one of those, like, better safe than sorry kind of deals.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, there's more I could say about that, but this ain't that kind of show. I'm not going to go there. But just to go back and wrap this up, I still feel totally safe going to Bonnaroo, being a vaccinated person, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do too?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll probably have like a sparkly little outfit.
Yeah.
Mask, type of mask.
Sparkly
like a little
mask.
costume mask.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea. I know me and you are going to be wearing masks, and I might encourage anybody riding in the bus to as well. And if anybody asks me my opinion, I would say, like, yeah, it's not going to hurt anything. In fact, it gets kind of dusty around there sometimes. That might actually help.
I'm thinking that the ticket package is going to be a mask. I mean, I've been saying that forever.
Somebody had a really good idea somewhere, and I wish I could credit the person that came up with this. What if you got some kind of high five, like foam finger type thing?
I saw that.
Yeah,
I think it was on Reddit somewhere.
Because, like, actually shaking hands or whatever is, like, one of the nastiest things that you can do. Like, so, and everybody's gonna high five. So what if you got, like, a big foam hand like you see at a ball game or whatever? I think it's a fantastic idea.
I mean, I kind of think at this point we're going back to, we did an episode right when COVID very first came out, and before they had canceled Bonnaroo 2020, we did an episode with my mom, who's a nurse.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And she was like, here are some tips for keeping safe. And it was like, if you have to cough into your elbow, carry around some hand sanitizer. Like, those kinds
simple
of things.
Things.
Like, simple things, but, like, maybe taking, like, some extra precautions that you wouldn't normally take. So it kind of goes back to that a little bit. So just kind of doing, like, some above and beyond extra things, like maybe using the hand sanitizer a little more than you normally would.
Exactly.
Washing your hands more than normal. Wearing a mask if that's what makes you comfortable. I mean, I might be more comfortable wearing a mask, especially if I'm in a crowd, and that's fine.
Same. Yeah, so I don't think there's a need to overthink this. I think
Right.
it's just keeping some of those extra safety precautions in mind is going to do the trick. But we're good. We're going to make this happen. Bonnaroo's happening. I just think that we have to, like I said, play as a team with this one and take your fellow Bonnaroovians into consideration, right?
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. All right. We just wanted to talk about that a little bit. We will see you guys soon.